stream over to America. And there they left behind the history. You see the old church there, the barns, you can see similar barns here, and the stubble. When I left behind their old parents, you see in the corner, if you get up there, it's a doll, and there are something, toys there. They left behind their childhood. There are some flowers there, and it is like the flowers are kind of following on their way. And the grass is a little hint of red, it's almost like blood. There they have got all their trunks together. My grandfather, he spent 3 years away from his family in America, went back to pick them up, had everything packed and ready to go. We had big trunks in our barn, but almost in the last moment, my grandmother changed her mind. But here they have everything for the long journey to America. I think that's about it, isn't it?
That's 13 weeks on a single boat.
Yeah.
And then they ride 13 weeks to get to Norwegian Ridge.
Yeah. And here they arrive in Spring Grove. It's a nest there. They're nesting here. He lifts his hat. He has decided this is the place where they're going to settle. The kids are tasting the water, have the wagon there with their belongings there. They probably didn't have a horse. The Indian was back there. They didn't have a horse. They probably had an oxen to pull the plow. They started to till, to cut down the trees. Understand it was wooded here. So they had to cut down the trees, split the trees, make timber for their houses. But some I've heard, and that must be unique here. I heard there were families, was the Gubber family. When I came here, they dug into a cliff for the first dwelling, where they lived the first year. And also was told that when they first built the barn, and then when the barn was built, then they built their first cabins. And in Norway, when we got the roof on still, when we are building a house, then they have a party. They get the tree up almost like a Christmas tree. That, yeah. Do you have that here? Yeah. And there you see him. He is seeding them, but then
with his hat on.
His hat off, because that's a kind of sacred work when it's seeding. They always took their hat off then, and probably prayed a prayer. And then you see the younger guys are learning the craft from the older. They're making the furniture. Then they start to cut the grass with the scythe, like I also did when I was young. And hay is piled up. But you see they got some new they got horses and some new machinery. But the time when they left it was not only for economic reasons, but it was also to give their children a better future. It was a time when they belonged strongly in education. They were building high schools and universities out in the countryside and the smaller places. So there the table is set for learning. They built schools and churches here, I understand, when they still lived in small cabins. And that's impressive. I don't know how unique it is for Norway, but I think it is somewhat unique for Norway and Scandinavia. And I cannot still not get over the age of some of these big churches here. How they built impressive churches, which still is monumental when they still was living in these small cabins. And as one said, our parents didn't have much to give to Luther College when they were building the main there, but they gave a cow. And my father said, well, my father was always out there and get stone for the building in the morning before he could start work on the farm. They really went into it. But there now they have come that far that the survival period was over. They got the big machinery in here. I remember at home we had these albums, thick albums, which showed families proudly in front of their new, bigger homes, and also the big machinery when they did harvesting. And I've heard from immigrants in my family what the joyful time it was up in it's Orson Farm north of Malmö, when this crew came in with these big machinery. And Stephen Gubberud told me about it was a really festive occasion. It was hard work, but boy, how much good food it was. I would say thank you for that good food today. And that dessert topped it, because my mother used to make that rice pudding. And when I was in Oslo and was rather poor, so to say, I had not dinner every day, but I always had dinner on Saturday, and I always had rice pudding. Then you see there are some spring grove scene, and it is the grain storage, you call it. And it's some from the Gubberud farm, the windmill, and
that's the Ellingson elevator. There's a couple of Ellingsons here. We just want them to commission that elevator.
There were time for more than a survival. Amazingly, they built a ski jump here. There you see the train is coming in. Lots of people there, like at home when the boat came in. Lots of people meeting those for the homecoming. Then it's the old theater there. We are known for baseball. And then there are 3 generations proudly in front of that new building, the old immigration, then the father and the mother, and the young generation with the American and Norwegian flag. The toys have been brought back again, and you can see Ola and Per walking down the street. When I grew up, we had still very strong ties with America, and there were some who had the Koraposten. My nearest neighbor had the Koraposten, and I loved to go over there and read Ola and Per stories. And never would that dawn on me then that I someday would be in the Ola and Per. Maybe most yes. This is not copied and in Norwegian interior. But in my opinion, when traditions are just copied, then they are dead. I think a living tradition has to evolve. And if we should keep a tradition here in America, then I think the tradition of painted interior is a unique tradition for Norway and Sweden, where we had the wooden houses. In Denmark it was more the continental style with the white walls and brown dark beams. When the continent, down on the continent, they had a fine art to hang on the walls. We didn't have very much. But when we got the chimney in our houses, when we got the soot cleaned out, then almost like an explosion, we started to paint our homes. And we decorated the walls and the ceilings and the artifacts we had with paint and colors. Maybe due to the cold, long, white winters, we needed the warmth of the colors. Earlier, they had just been able to hang up tapestries for festive occasions, and I took them down again. Now I could do something more permanent. And then we have a tradition then of going into different kind of ambience. You have the green room, and you walk into the red room, and you walk into the yellow room. And instead of hanging paintings on the wall, we decorated the whole room into a piece of art. So you walk into a piece of art. You're part of it.